This is a small presentation of what's Video Browser all about, and in particular the MotionBox project. So we're on the 1.8 version of the software, but I thought I'd do a quick presentation for those of you who don't necessarily understand what it's all about and trying to explain what it can do. So MotionBox is a video browser. It's essentially a mix between a video player and a web browser, and the idea was to put those two together. And originally, to make it a little bit more concrete for you, I was greatly inspired by Napster, Deezer, and Spotify mostly, which was a dedicated application to music. And I had the idea of doing the same for video. So here you could type a query, anything you like. The idea is having pretty much a semantic, experience. You type something, you type an idea, and then you'll access to tracks related to that idea or to that URL directly. You can browse through them in full screen, and you can also display a comprehensive list of the current search you're on. What's interesting about that is that even though there are a lot of things on YouTube, you might want to search on other backends. Because you might have better bandwidth, you might have other stuff. Sometimes tracks might be censored and might be available elsewhere. So that can be useful to switch from one to the other. So in that case, we can go from YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, SoundCloud, and look for a bunch of these. Once we found something we like, we can start play it, and the playback will start. A video in MotionBox in a video browser is always playing on a tab, just like you're browsing web pages on tabs. And at any given point, you can open a new one, like this. So now what's happening is on the left, I still have playback going, and on the right, we have a navigation view, which is called the player browsing view. And we can switch from one to the other, and once we found something interesting, we can start play it on another tab. And so the new tab will start, and the old one will stop where it was at, which is the equivalent of doing the same in a web browser. You'd have to pause the video, open a new tab, run a new video, and play it back. So here it's done automatically for you because we have this parti pris of playing video. You can expose the macro view here, and when we're exposing the macro view, you can see all the current tabs currently active on the player, on the browser. And I can search for more of them. Now we're going to do another search, for instance, and yet again we have tracks. We have tracks going here that we can access, that we can browse, and maybe even live ones, because in the latest version it's been implemented. So here I'll connect to radio, for instance, and we'll see how this goes. Live videos should be accessible on the recent version of MotionBox, and it works pretty good. An interesting thing that's to be noted is that you can both have comprehensive video playback or just dedicated audio playback. That can be useful if you're using MotionBox as a music player. And to be entirely fair, it's currently one of these strongest points. I believe that such program is one of the best propositions you can have on desktop for music playback because it's free and because the catalog is so vast. Not only do you have the YouTube catalog essentially, but you also have SoundCloud, and you can also search for torrents directly. So you might find, you might find a bunch of tracks, even non-compressed tracks, on a BitTorrent from inside a BitTorrent. That could be a FLAC or something like that, which has zero compression. So whether you're looking for zero compression or a very comprehensive catalog, MotionBox is a strong proposition. And again, no advertisement and no fees at all. Another thing that's been implemented in a video browser and could give you the idea of the advantage of such proposition, of such program, is that it can access BitTorrent directly. For instance, if I'm typing Big Bug Bunny here, I'll be able to search BitTorrent directly. And on BitTorrent, you'll be able to essentially access torrents and extract the tracks from within and play them directly on a video browser like this, which is an interesting proposition. That means that not only do you get the catalog from different backends that we support, but also access to the entire BitTorrent crowd proposition, if you will, as long as they're paired enough. But with modern connections, even 4G on the mobile, torrent streaming works really well, and I'm happy to report that the implementation I made in Motionbox is one of the very few libtorrent dedicated C++ implementation together with VLC that works very well. So what can we say about such a player this day? Well, it's, to be fair, it's not as what would you say? It's not as successful as I would have hoped originally when I started that. Today, I would mostly recommend it to people for music playback because I think it's interesting in that context. And so if you're about playing a bunch of tracks and you're lacking from a music playback that will serve your best interest all the time, I think it's a very strong proposition currently. I used to think that it would be an important paradigm on desktop that would complement the web browser and traditional player like VLC. That hasn't been the case yet. Maybe such application will gain in importance in the future, depending also the other video-related software will develop. For instance, I've been working on a program called Motion Monkey, which is pretty much a semantic player on the Android platform, but also works on desktop. And I'm exploring a new direction here that might at one point look back with what I was trying to do at the time with the video browser. I was really disappointed about the results regarding the user base and regarding the opportunity I had from it in terms of B2C opportunities. But this program helped me grow as a developer and finding new jobs and new perspective for my developer career. So it was interesting developing that, and to this day it's still maintained and it still works very good. Another thing which should be shown is that you can create playlists. So here, for instance, I'll add this to a playlist called Dune. We can do that, and just created this. I can add this live radio to it if I want, and I can even take a bunch of these tracks and add it to it. And then I have a video which is essentially an horizontal a playlist, which is essentially an horizontal playlist that has tracks from various backends. I could even add a torrent there, and you could also drag and drop local files. So you can have a playlist that accesses a bunch of places and switch from one to the other whenever you need it. And again, with comprehensive tab functionality. So yeah, hopefully you'll find it interesting. If you're adventurous, you can take it for a spin and let me know what you think. And hopefully it's a bit more clear. It's a bit more clear what my intention were when I started developing this application. Thank you for your time.